I'm ready. After the hearing, my son, his wife, and their 3 lawyers managed to take everything from me. I remember every word Robert told me that day, standing in front of the judge with that cold stare I didn't know. "You don't deserve anything, you selfish old woman." He said it in a low, calculated voice, as if he had been rehearsing that phrase for months. Patricia, his wife, was beside him, her arms crossed and that slight smile that chilled my blood. The 3 lawyers neatly stacked their papers on the table, satisfied. They had won. I had lost everything. The house where I raised Robert, 30 years of savings from work, the bank account I had set aside for my final days. Everything. The judge signed the documents without looking me in the eye. All I could do was sit there, on that hard, cold chair, feeling my life crumble in silence. I left that courthouse without knowing where to go. Literally, I had no place to return to. I walked for hours with my old purse hanging from my shoulder, feeling that every step took me further away from the woman I once was. Teresa Miller, 62 years old, widow, mother, now, nothing. I slept on a park bench that night, not because I wanted to, because I had no choice. And now, 6 weeks later, here I am, hunched over in a corner, rummaging through the trash, looking for empty cans to sell. My hands tremble as I separate the aluminum from the plastic. I don't know if it's because of the cold early morning air or the hunger I've been feeling for 3 days. Maybe it's the shame. That shame that burns me every time someone walks by and looks away. I've been wearing these same clothes for 2 weeks. They smell like dampness, like the street, like defeat. I sleep in an abandoned doorway near the town square. Ironic. The same square where I used to take Robert when he was a boy. Now I sleep 2 blocks from the house that was mine, the house he took from me. Sometimes I wonder how I ended up here. How the boy I used to feed by hand when he was sick turned into the man who left me on the street. How everything I built collapsed in a single hearing. But there's no point in asking myself those questions anymore. The reality is this. Me collecting cans to buy a loaf of bread. Me sleeping on the ground. Me. Invisible. I put the cans in a torn bag I found days ago. It has a hole in the corner, but it works. I walk slowly toward the recycling center. My feet hurt. The shoes I'm wearing are broken, and the pavement hurts me with every step. But I keep going because that's all I can do. Keep going. The man at the recycling center doesn't even look at me when I hand him the cans. He counts in silence, gives me a few dollars, and motions with his hand for me to leave. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't say anything. To him, I'm just one more. An old woman collecting trash. Nothing special. Nothing important. I buy half a loaf of bread at the corner store. The woman working there looks at me with pity, but doesn't say anything. She hands me the bread wrapped in a thin bag, and I leave quickly. I can't stand that look, that silent compassion that makes me feel even smaller. I sit down in the square, on the same bench where I slept the first night. I eat slowly, savoring every bite, because I don't know when I will eat again. The sun begins to set, and the square fills with people returning from work. Families, couples, children running. Everyone has a place to go. Everyone but me. I close my eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. The fresh evening air fills my lungs. I try to remember what my life was like before, what it was like to wake up in my own bed, make coffee in my kitchen, sit in my living room to watch television. But those memories hurt. They hurt because they are no longer mine. Robert kept all of that. He sleeps in my bed now. He drinks coffee in my kitchen. He lives the life I built. And I am here, I open my eyes when I hear footsteps approaching. A man walks towards me. He is wearing a dark suit, well pressed, and carrying a folder under his arm. He stops in front of me and looks at me with an expression I can't decipher. It's not pity. It's not contempt. It's something else. Something like recognition. "Excuse me," he says in a firm but kind voice. "You're Teresa Miller." My heart stops for a second. No one has called me by my name in weeks. No one has looked me in the eye as if I were a real person. I look at him without answering, confused, even scared. Who is this man? What does he want from me? I nod slowly, not knowing what else to do. He takes a deep breath, as if preparing to say something important. He opens the folder under his arm and pulls out a white, sealed envelope. He hands it to me carefully. "Mrs. Miller, my name is Isaac Gale. I am a lawyer. I have been looking for you for 3 weeks. 3 weeks." He looks at me intently and then says something that makes my whole body freeze. "Your brother passed away 2 months ago, and he left you something. A mansion valued at $3 million and a cash inheritance of $20 million. The world stops. I can't breathe. I can't think. $20 million. A mansion. My brother. The brother I hadn't spoken to for more than 15 years. The brother who left and never returned. But there is a condition," the lawyer continues, and his voice becomes more serious. "A very specific condition that you must fulfill to receive the inheritance. And believe me, Mrs. Miller, when I tell you that this condition is going to change everything." My hands tremble as I take the envelope. I open it slowly, with fear, with hope, with something I hadn't felt in a long time. Something like life. I take out the letter inside. The handwriting is my brother's. I recognize it immediately, and as I begin to read, I feel something inside me, something I thought was dead, starting to wake up. That day was when everything began to change. Before everything fell apart, I had a simple life. Nothing luxurious, nothing extraordinary, but it was mine. I had my house, my routine, my small moments of peace. I got up every morning at 6, made coffee in the kitchen I knew by heart, and opened the curtains to let in the light. That house wasn't big, but I had paid for it with my own work, with years of effort and sacrifice. I lived there for 35 years. First with my husband, Robert, until a heart attack took him when Robert was just 8 years old. Afterwards, alone with my son, raising him, giving him everything I could. I worked as a secretary in an accounting office for 25 years. I didn't earn much, but it was enough. It was always enough, because I knew how to manage. I knew how to make every dollar count. Robert grew up in that house. He learned to walk there. He celebrated every birthday there. He studied for his exams there. I watched him grow up with pride. He was a good boy, responsible, affectionate, or so I thought. Maybe I only saw what I wanted to see. Maybe a mother is always blind when it comes to her son. When Robert turned 30, he met Patricia. She showed up one day at the house, holding my son's hand, with a perfect smile and expensive clothes. Too expensive for someone who claimed to work in a clothing store. She told me she was a manager, but something in her eyes made me doubt. There was a coldness there, an ambition I didn't know how to name. At first I tried to be kind. I tried to accept her. Robert seemed happy, and that's what mattered, right? But Patricia started changing things, small things at first. Comments, suggestions. "Teresa, don't you think this house is too old for you alone?" "Teresa, Robert is worried about your finances. Maybe you should let him help you." "Teresa, at your age you should be resting, not working so hard." I didn't understand what she was trying to get at. I thought she cared about me. How naive I was. A year after meeting her, they got married. It was a small wedding in a rented hall. I paid half. Robert asked me with that look I had known since he was a child, that look that melted my heart. "Mum, just this once. I promise I'll pay you back." He never paid me back, but at that moment I didn't care. It was my son's wedding, my only son. After the wedding, everything changed faster. Patricia convinced Robert that they needed their own place. I agreed. It was natural. Newlyweds need their space. But then the visits started. The serious conversations, the proposals. "Mum, Patricia and I were thinking, this house is too big for you. It has 3 bedrooms and you only use 1. Wouldn't it be better if you sold it and moved to a smaller apartment? Something easier to maintain?" I refused. That house was mine. It was all I had left of the life I built with Robert. It was the place where my memories grew. I wasn't going to sell it. Then they started with another strategy, more subtle, more dangerous. "Mum, at your age you should have your papers in order. What if you get sick? What if you have an accident? You should give me legal power of attorney, just to protect you, to make sure everything is okay." He said it with so much concern, with so much supposed tenderness, that I almost believed him. Almost. But something inside me doubted. Something told me not to sign anything. So I said I would think about it. That I needed time. That bothered them. I saw it on Patricia's face. That mask of kindness cracked for a second, and I saw what was underneath. Rage, impatience, pure ambition. But they didn't give up. They kept insisting, week after week, visit after visit. Until one day, Robert arrived with 3 men in suits. He said they were lawyers, that they came to help me organize my finances, to protect my assets. "It's just a formality. Mum, we need you to sign some papers. It's for your own good." I was tired, so tired of fighting, so tired of feeling alone, so tired of being seen as an obstacle. So I signed. I signed without reading properly. I signed trusting my son. I signed believing he would never hurt me. What a mistake. What a terrible mistake. 2 months later, I received a court summons. I didn't understand what it meant. I called Robert, confused, scared. He told me not to worry, that he would take care of everything, that I just had to go to the hearing and everything would be fine. But nothing was fine. The day of the hearing, I arrived alone. Robert was there, but not by my side. He was on the other side of the room, with Patricia, with the 3 lawyers. They looked at me as if I were a stranger, as if I were the enemy. The judge read the documents. He spoke of mental incompetence, of inability to manage my own finances, of clauses I had supposedly agreed to, clauses that transferred everything to Robert, my house, my savings, everything. I tried to speak. I tried to explain that I hadn't understood what I was signing, that I had been tricked. But my voice sounded weak, broken, and no one listened to me. No one believed me. The judge passed sentence. Everything passed to Robert Miller's name. I had 2 weeks to vacate the house, 2 weeks to disappear from my own life. I looked at my son, searching for something, some trace of the boy I raised, some sign of remorse, of doubt, of humanity. But all I found was that cold stare. Empty. And then he said it, in a low, clear voice. "You don't deserve anything, you selfish old woman." Patricia smiled. The lawyers closed their folders, and I stayed there, sitting, feeling my world fall apart into pieces. I left that courthouse aimlessly. I walked for hours, without knowing where to go. without having anywhere to go. I called some friends, acquaintances, but everyone had excuses. Everyone was busy. Everyone disappeared when I needed them most. That night, I slept on a bench, and the next, and the next, until I stopped counting the days, until the street became my only home. Now, 6 weeks later, I hold this letter in my trembling hands. The letter from my brother, the brother who left 15 years ago after an argument we never resolved, the brother who built a fortune while I struggled to survive, the brother who apparently never forgot me. And as I read his words, written in his own hand, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Something like hope. Something like justice. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't over. The letter trembles in my hands. I can't stop looking at my brother's handwriting. That slanted, firm script, which I would recognize anywhere. 15 years have passed since we last spoke. 15 years since that absurd fight that separated us forever. Oh, so I thought. The lawyer, Isaac Gale, sits beside me on the bench. He doesn't say anything for a moment. He just watches me read. The first line of the letter hits me like a punch to the stomach. Teresa, if you are reading this, it means I'm gone, and it means they finally found you. My eyes fill with tears. I can't help it. My brother is dead. Mark, my younger brother, the boy I looked after when our parents worked late, the rebellious teenager who left home at 18, the man who made a fortune in real estate and never looked back at me. I keep reading. Every word is a blow, every sentence a reminder of everything we lost. I know we haven't spoken in years. I know I failed you. I know when you needed me most, I wasn't there. But I want you to know something, Teresa. I never forgot you. Not for a single day. I followed your life from afar. I knew when you were widowed. I knew when Robert grew up. I knew when you worked yourself to exhaustion to give that boy everything. And I knew too when that same boy betrayed you. I gasped for air. How did he know? How did he know what Robert did to me? I hired investigators 6 months ago, the letter continues. When I knew I was sick, when I knew I didn't have much time left, I needed to make sure you were okay. What I discovered enraged me. It broke my heart. My nephew, the son you raised alone, was planning to strip you of everything, and I couldn't do anything to stop him in time. Forgive me for that, sister. Forgive me for not acting sooner. Tears fall onto the paper. I don't care. I keep reading. That's why I left very specific instructions. I am leaving you everything I have. The mansion on the outskirts of the city, $3 million in properties, $20 million in cash and stocks. It's all yours, Teresa. Everything. But there is a condition, a single condition that you must fulfill to receive this inheritance. The letter stops here. I look at the lawyer, confused. He nods his head and pulls another document from his folder. The condition is here, Mrs. Miller, he says in a serious voice. Your brother was very clear. You can receive the full inheritance. But first, you must live in the mansion for 3 months. 90 exact days. Without leaving. Without giving up. And during that time, you must gather documented evidence of everything your son did to you. Every paper signed. Every deception. Every lie. Your brother wanted you to have the tools to defend yourself, to recover what is yours, to prove the truth. I remain silent. I can't process what I'm hearing. 3 months in a mansion, gathering evidence against Robert. What for? To confront him, to destroy him, I whisper. My voice is hoarse, broken. Why would Mark want me to do this? Why not just give me the money and be done with it? Isaac looks at me with something like compassion. Because your brother knew you, Mrs. Miller. He knew you are not the type to seek revenge. He knew you would forgive your son without a second thought. He knew that even after what he did to you, you would continue to protect him. That's why he set this condition. To force you to see the truth. To force you to face what happened. To give you the opportunity to recover your dignity. His words pierce me. He is right. I would have forgiven Robert, despite everything, despite the nights on the street, despite the hunger, despite the humiliation, because I am his mother, and mothers forgive. They always forgive. But something inside me twists, something dark, something that has been growing during these 6 weeks of abandonment, something that dangerously resembles rage. And if I refuse, I ask, if I don't want to meet the condition? Isaac sighs. Then the inheritance will be donated to charities. You will receive nothing. Your brother was very clear about that too. Either you accept the conditions, or you renounce everything. I look at the letter again. I look at my dirty hands, my broken nails, my clothes that smell of misery. I look at the bag of empty cans at my feet. I look at the bench where I have slept for weeks. And then I look at the lawyer. What if I discover there isn't enough evidence? What if the papers were destroyed? Your brother thought of that, Isaac replies. He hired a team of private investigators before he died. They already gathered copies of documents, recordings, testimonies. Everything is stored in a safe inside the mansion. You just have to review everything, organize it, understand it, and then decide what to do with that information. Decide what to do. Those words echo in my head. Mark is giving me an option, an opportunity, not just to get money back, not just to have a roof over my head. He is giving me the opportunity to regain my voice, my truth, my justice. But I'm afraid. A deep fear that paralyzes me. What if I can't do it? What if seeing all that evidence completely breaks me? What if confronting Robert shatters what little is left of me? I don't know if I can, I admit in a low voice. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Isaac places a hand on my shoulder. It's a kind gesture, human. It's been so long since anyone touched me with kindness that I almost burst into tears. Mrs. Miller, your brother wrote something else at the end of the letter, something you should perhaps read now. He hands me another sheet, the last page. I read it with blurred eyes. Teresa, if you are hesitating, if you are scared, I want you to remember something. You were the strongest person I ever knew. When Dad died, you were 16 years old, and you took care of me as if you were my mother. When Mum got sick, you worked all day and took care of her all night without ever complaining. When your husband died, you got up and kept going for your son. That strength didn't disappear. Sister, it's just asleep. It's time to wake it up. Not for revenge, not for hatred, but for you, because you deserve it. Because your own life is worth fighting for. It was always worth it. I love you, Teresa, and I regret not telling you when I was alive. Now it's up to you to decide who you want to be, the woman who gives up, or the woman who gets up one more time. I close my eyes. I take a deep breath. The cold evening air fills my lungs. I hear the sounds of the square, children laughing, birds singing, life happening all around me, life that I am also a part of. Still, I open my eyes and look at Isaac. I accept, I say. My voice sounds firmer than I expected. I accept the condition. I'm going to do this. The lawyer smiles. It's a genuine smile. Relieved. Then let's go, Mrs. Miller. I'll take you to your new house. Well, your temporary house, for now. He helps me get up. My legs are shaking, but I steady myself. I pick up my bag of cans. Isaac looks at me strangely. Can't you leave that here, Mom? No, I reply. This reminds me where I came from, what I survived. I'm going to keep it. We walk toward a black car parked nearby. It is elegant, clean, the complete opposite of me. But when Isaac opens the door, he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't look at me with contempt. He just waits for me to get in. I sit down in the back seat. It's soft, comfortable. It smells like new leather. I close my eyes for a moment and feel something inside me begin to change. It's not hope yet. Not exactly, but it's something. Something small. Something that looks like possibility. The car starts and we drive away from the square, from the bench, from the cans, from the life I led for 6 weeks. I look out the window and see the city passing by. The streets I walked looking for food, the corners where I slept, the places where I was invisible. I didn't know that decision was going to change everything, I whisper to myself. But deep down, I think I did know. The car drives on streets I don't recognize. We leave behind the city center, the old buildings, the cracked sidewalks where I spent the last weeks of my life. Now the landscape changes. The houses are bigger, the gardens greener, the gates taller. This is another world, a world I never belonged to. Isaac drives in silence. Occasionally he looks at me in the rearview mirror, as if making sure I'm still there, that I haven't disappeared. I look out the window, feeling my heart beat faster and faster. I'm nervous, scared. I don't know what to expect. After half an hour, the car turns onto a private road. There is a black iron gate with a security system. Isaac enters a code, and the gate opens slowly. We enter, and then I see it. The mansion. It's enormous. 3 stories of light stone and huge windows. It has a front garden with fountains and perfectly trimmed trees. The driveway is made of white cobblestones that gleam in the afternoon sun. There are wide stairs leading up to the main door, a solid wood door with carved details. I can't believe this is real. I can't believe my brother lived here. The same Mark who grew up with me in a 2-bedroom house. The same boy who shared my room because there was no more space. Now this. All this. Welcome to your temporary home, Mrs. Miller, Isaac says as he stops the car in front of the stairs. I get out slowly. My legs barely support me. I look up at the windows, at the balconies. It's too much. Everything is too much. Did my brother live here alone? I ask. The last 5 years? Yes, Isaac replies. After his wife passed away, he didn't remarry. He didn't have children. This house was his refuge, his work, and now it's yours. We walk up the stairs together. Each step weighs me down. When we reach the door, Isaac takes out a set of keys and hands them to me. These are yours now. The front door, the study, the bedrooms, everything. I take the keys with trembling hands. They are heavy. They are real. This is real. I open the door and we go inside. The interior is even more impressive. The foyer is spacious, with marble floors and a curved staircase leading up to the 2nd floor. There are paintings on the walls, crystal lamps hanging from the ceiling, elegant furniture. Everything is impeccable, clean, as if someone still lived here. There is an employee who comes twice a week to clean, Isaac explains. She will continue to come during the 3 months. There is also a gardener and a cook who can come if you request it. Everything is paid for. Everything is arranged. You just have to stay here and fulfill the condition. He shows me around the house. We pass through the main living room, enormous, with leather sofas and a stone fireplace. Then the kitchen, modern, with appliances that look like they came out of a magazine. The dining room, with a table for 12 people. The library, full of books from floor to ceiling. Your brother's study is on the second floor, Isaac says as we go up the stairs. That's where the safe is. That's where you'll find everything you need. My heart beats faster with every step. We reach a long hallway with several doors. Isaac opens one at the end. It's a spacious study with windows overlooking the backyard. There is a dark wood desk, shelves with organized documents, and on the back wall, a built-in safe. The combination is in this envelope, Isaac says, handing me another sealed envelope. Inside, you will find everything the investigators gathered. Documents, recordings, photographs. Everything you need to understand what really happened. To understand how your son planned all this. I take the envelope, but don't open it. Not yet. I'm not ready. When do I have to start? I ask. Whenever you want. You have 3 full months, 90 days starting tomorrow. You can take all the time you need to review everything, to process it, to decide what to do next. I nod in silence. Isaac looks at me with something like concern. Mrs. Miller, there is something else I need to tell you. What is it? Your son already knows about the inheritance. The world stops. My blood freezes. What? Robert Miller filed a lawsuit 3 days ago trying to annul the will. He alleges that your brother was mentally incapacitated when he wrote it, that he was manipulated, that the inheritance should pass to the nearest living relatives, that is, to him as his nephew. I can't breathe. Of course. Of course Robert would do this. Of course he would try to take this from me too. And can he do it? I ask with a trembling voice. Can he take the inheritance from me? No, Isaac replies firmly. Your brother's will is solid. It was made with 3 lawyers present. There are medical evaluations that prove Mark was completely lucid. And there are specific clauses that protect the inheritance against this type of lawsuit. But that doesn't mean your son won't try. In fact, we will probably see him here soon. My legs give way. I have to sit down. I slump into the desk chair and close my eyes. I can't do this, I whisper. I can't face him. I can't see him again. Yes, you can, Isaac says in a soft but firm voice. And you will. Because this time you are not alone. This time you have resources. You have legal support. You have the truth on your side. And you have something your son will never have. What is it? Integrity. I open my eyes and look at him. He holds my gaze. Your brother told me a lot about you before he died, Mrs. Miller. He told me you were the most honest person he had ever met, that you never took shortcuts, that you always did the right thing, even when it cost you dearly. That's why he trusted you. That's why he left you all this, because he knew you would use it well, that you wouldn't be corrupted, that you would still be who you are. His words hit me deeply. I feel the tears threaten to come out again, but I hold them back. I have cried enough. It's time to be strong. What do I have to do now? I ask. Rest today. Take a shower. Eat something. Sleep in a real bed. Tomorrow you can start reviewing the documents. I will return the day after tomorrow to see how everything is going. Meanwhile, here is my card. You can call me any time if you need anything. Anything at all. He hands me his card. I take it and put it in my pocket. Isaac says goodbye with a handshake and leaves. I hear his footsteps descending the stairs. I hear the front door close. I hear the car driving away. And then I am alone. Alone in this huge house. Alone with my thoughts. Alone with this opportunity that I still don't know if I deserve. I get up slowly and walk around the study. I touch the books on the shelves. I look at the photographs on the walls. There is one of Mark when he was young, smiling. He looks so much like the boy I remember. And there is another of the two of us, together, when we were teenagers. I didn't remember that photo existing. We look happy, united. We were family. What happened? How did we drift so far apart? I sit down at the desk again and look at the safe. Everything is there. All the truth about what Robert did to me. All the evidence I need. I just have to open that envelope, dial the combination, see what's inside. But I can't. Not yet. First, I need to recover. I need to feel human again. I leave the study and explore the rest of the second floor. I find several bedrooms. They are all furnished, clean, ready. I choose one at the end of the hall with large windows overlooking the garden. The bed is huge with white sheets that look like clouds. I enter the connected bathroom. It's bigger than the bedroom I slept in at my old house. There is a deep tub, a shower with glass doors, mirrors, everywhere. I turn on the shower and let the water run. Hot steam fills the bathroom. I take off my dirty clothes, the clothes I've been wearing for weeks. I look at them on the floor and feel disgust. Disgust at what they represent. Disgust at what I lived through. I step into the shower and the hot water hits me like a blessing. I cry. I finally allow myself to cry. I cry for everything I lost, for everything I suffered, for all the nights on the street, for the hunger, for the loneliness, for the betrayal. I cry until there are no more tears. Then I wash myself. I scrub my skin until it hurts. I wash my hair 3 times. I want to remove every trace of those weeks. I want to feel clean again. I want to feel like myself again. When I step out of the shower, I find soft towels hanging on silver hooks. I wrap myself in one and look at myself in the mirror. I barely recognize myself. I am thinner, older. There are new wrinkles around my eyes. But there is also something else. Something in my gaze. Something that wasn't there before. Determination. I go down to the kitchen wrapped in the towel. I open the refrigerator and find food. Fresh bread, cheese, fruit, ham. My stomach growls loudly. I make a huge sandwich and eat it standing right there, without sitting down, almost without chewing. It is delicious. It is the best thing I have ever eaten in my life. Then I go back upstairs and get into bed. The sheets are soft. The mattress is firm but comfortable. I close my eyes, and for the first time in 6 weeks, I really sleep. I sleep without fear, without cold, without hunger. I sleep like a person. And when I wake up, hours later, with the moonlight coming through the window, I know what I have to do. I know that tomorrow I am going to open that safe. I am going to see what's inside. I am going to face the truth, because my brother was right. It is time to wake up that strength that is asleep inside me. It is time to fight for my life. And this time, I'm not going to lose. The next morning, I wake up with the sun streaming through the window. For a moment, I don't know where I am. I look at the high ceiling, the elegant curtains, the crystal lamp. Then I remember. The mansion, the inheritance. My brother, everything is real. I get up slowly. My body still aches, but it's a different kind of pain. It's not the pain of sleeping on the ground. It's the pain of a body that is healing. I go down to the kitchen and make coffee. The aroma fills the house, and for a moment I feel at peace. But that peace doesn't last long, because I know what I have to do today. I have to open the safe. I have to see the truth. I go up to the study with a cup of coffee in my hand. I sit down at the desk and take out the envelope Isaac gave me. I open it and find a paper with the combination. 6 numbers written in my brother's handwriting. I walk to the safe and dial the numbers. I hear a click. The door opens. Inside there are folders, many folders, all labeled with dates. I take out the first one and open it on the desk. They are copies of the documents I signed, the same ones they made me sign that day when the lawyers came to my house. I read slowly, and then I see it. The hidden clauses, the fine print. Everything I didn't read, everything I didn't understand. It's all there, in black and white. I signed the transfer of my house. I signed the access to my bank accounts. I signed my own destruction. But it wasn't my fault. The words were written in a confusing way. The legal terms were impossible to understand. They tricked me. They manipulated me. And I, trusting my son, fell into the trap. I open the second folder. They are photographs. Robert meeting with the lawyers months before the hearing. Robert and Patricia in an expensive restaurant, celebrating. The date of the photo is 2 days after I signed the papers. They are smiling, toasting with wine glasses, celebrating my downfall. My hands are shaking. I keep looking. There's more. Audio recordings on a small device. I connect it to the desk computer and listen. It's Robert's voice talking on the phone with one of the lawyers. It has to look legal. My mother can't suspect anything. I need the documents to be confusing but valid. She will sign. She always does what I ask. The voice pierces me. It's my son planning this. My son talking about me as if I were an obstacle, as if I were a problem to solve. There are more recordings. In one of them I hear Patricia. That old woman has too much for someone who doesn't do anything. That house should be ours. That money should be ours. It's about time she understands that her time is over. I close my eyes. I take a deep breath. The pain is physical. It's as if I were being stabbed in the chest over and over again. I keep reviewing folders. There are reports from the private investigators, details of how Robert looked for unscrupulous lawyers, how he paid for false evaluations about my supposed mental incapacity, how he bribed witnesses to say that I was confused, that I forgot things, that I couldn't take care of myself. Everything was planned, every detail, every step, for months, maybe years. My son studied how to destroy me, and he succeeded. I get up from the desk and walk to the window. I look at the garden, the trees, the blue sky. I need air. I need space. I need to process this. Just then I hear the doorbell. My heart speeds up. I'm not expecting anyone. I slowly descend the stairs and look through the peephole, and what I see freezes my blood. It's Robert. He is standing in front of the door with Patricia by his side, both dressed elegantly, both with that expression of superiority that I know so well. I touch the doorknob, but don't open it. I'm not ready. Not now. Not after seeing everything I just saw. Robert rings again. Harder. I know you're there, Mom. Open the door. We need to talk. His voice. That voice that used to lull me to sleep when he was a baby. That voice that asked for bedtime stories. Now it sounds cold, calculating, threatening. I'm not going to open, I say from the other side of the door. My voice sounds firmer than I expected. This is ridiculous, I hear Patricia's voice. That inheritance doesn't belong to you. You have no right to be here. I have every right, I reply. My brother left this to me. It's legal. It's mine. Your brother was crazy, Robert says. And you are too if you think you're going to keep this. I already filed a lawsuit. My lawyers are going to annul that will. And when they do, I'm going to kick you out of here just like I kicked you out of your house. His words hit me. But this time I don't break down. This time I have something he doesn't know I have. I have the truth. I have the evidence. I have everything I need bound to destroy him. Go away, Robert, I say in a calm voice. I'm not going to open this door, and I'm not going to let you take anything else from me. Never again. There is silence on the other side. Then I hear footsteps walking away. I hear a car starting up. They left. For now. I return to the study. I sit down at the desk and look at all the open folders, all the evidence scattered, all the documented venom, and I feel something new growing inside me. It's not hatred, not exactly, it's clarity, it's understanding, it's the certainty that I have to do something. I can't stay silent. Not this time. I spend the rest of the day organizing everything. I make copies, I mark important pages, I listen to the recordings over and over until every word is etched into my memory. Every lie, every betrayal, every moment my son decided I didn't matter. When night falls, I have everything organized in a master folder. Everything I need is here. Now all that's left is to decide what to do with this, how to use this information, whether to seek revenge or seek justice, whether to destroy my son or simply protect myself. I sit in bed that night, exhausted, but strangely calm. I look out the window at the stars, and I think of my brother, of Mark, of how he knew exactly what I needed. Not just money, not just a house. I needed this. I needed to see the truth. I needed to understand that it wasn't my fault, that I'm not crazy, that I was the victim of something calculated and cruel. And now that I know, now that I have the proof, I have to decide who I want to be, the mother who keeps forgiving, or the woman who finally defends herself, the victim who hides, or the survivor who fights. I close my eyes and whisper in the dark. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for not forgetting me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And for the first time in a long time, I feel something like hope, something like power, something like justice. Now it's my turn. The days pass, and I immerse myself in the documents. Every morning I get up, make coffee, and go up to the study. I read, I analyze, I take notes. Every folder I open reveals a new layer of the betrayal. But it also reveals something else to me. It reveals who I was before all this, and who I can be again. One afternoon, while reviewing one of the last folders, I find something different. They are not legal documents or recordings. It's a small wooden box, hidden at the back of the safe. I carefully take it out and open it. Inside there are letters, many letters, all written by my brother Mark, all addressed to me, but never sent. I take the first one with trembling hands. It is dated 10 years ago, right after our last fight, the fight that separated us. I start reading. Dear Teresa, 3 months have passed since we screamed horrible things at each other. 3 months since I called you a controlling person, since you called me selfish. I've wanted to call you 1,000 times, but my pride stops me. I was always proud. You know that. But I want you to know something. I never forgot everything you did for me. When Dad died and Mum fell apart, you were 16, and you took care of me, as if you were my mother. You dropped out of school to work. You sacrificed so I could continue studying, and I never thanked you the way I should have. Forgive me. Sister, forgive me for being a proud idiot. Tears fall onto the paper. I keep reading letter after letter. There are dozens, one for each year, sometimes 2 or 3 a year. In all of them, Mark talks about me, about his memories, about his guilt, about his love. In a letter dated 5 years ago, he writes about Robert. I hired an investigator to see how you were doing. I know it's invasive. I know I should just call you. But I'm still a coward. The investigator told me about your son, about how he treats you, about that woman he married. Teresa, I'm worried. I see signs that something bad is going to happen. That boy has the look of someone who only thinks of himself, like I was before. But worse, much worse. If I could, I would tell you to walk away, to protect what is yours. But I have no right to tell you anything, not after all these years of silence. My heart aches. Mark knew. He saw it coming, and he tried to warn me in the only way he could, by leaving me this inheritance, by leaving me these tools, by giving me the opportunity to defend myself when it was already too late for him to intervene. There is one more letter, the last one. It is dated 2 weeks before his death. Teresa, if you are reading this, it means they finally found you. It means you are in my house. It means you saw all the evidence. And it means you now know the truth. I know it hurts. I know seeing your own son betray you is the greatest pain there is. Believe me, sister, I also suffered when I saw what was happening. But you needed to see it. You needed to understand it, because you, with that huge heart you always had, would have forgiven without looking back. You would have said that children deserve second chances. You would have carried the guilt, as you always did. But not this time. This time I want you to see that it was not your fault, that you were a victim, and that you deserve justice, not revenge, justice. There is a difference, Teresa. Revenge destroys, justice restores. You decide which path to take. But whatever it is, I want you to know something. I am proud of you. I always was. You are the strongest person I ever knew, and I regret with all my heart not telling you this when I could look you in the eyes. I love you, sister. I always loved you. Now live. Live the life you deserve, the life they took from you, the life you can get back. Your brother who never stopped thinking about you. Mark. I fold the letter carefully and put it back in the box. I cry. I cry for everything Mark and I lost, for all the years we could have had together that pride stole from us, for all the conversations we never had, for all the hugs we never gave each other. But I also cry with gratitude, because even in his silence, my brother took care of me. Even from afar, he protected me. And now, from his death, he is giving me the opportunity to take back my life. I wipe my tears and take a deep breath. Mark is right. I have to decide. Revenge or justice. Destruction or restoration. Hatred or dignity. I can't sleep that night. I toss and turn in bed, thinking, remembering, imagining. I see scenes in my mind. Robert as a child, running towards me with open arms. Robert as a teenager, embarrassed to be picked up from school. Robert as an adult, introducing me to Patricia with that fake smile. Robert at the hearing, looking at me with contempt. You don't deserve anything, you selfish old woman. Which of those Roberts is the real one? Or are they all? Can a person hold so much love and so much hatred, so much tenderness and so much cruelty? At 3 in the morning I get up. I go down to the study. I turn on the light and sit down at the computer. I open a blank document and start writing. I write everything. Everything I feel. Everything I discovered. Everything I want to say, but haven't been able to. The words flow like a river, page after page, until the sky begins to lighten, and I realize I have been writing for hours. I read what I wrote. It is a letter for Robert, but I'm not going to send it. Not yet. First, I need something else. I need a plan. Over the next few days, I work on that plan. I talk on the phone with Isaac. I tell him what I found. I ask him about legal options. He explains that I can file a countersuit against Robert. I can accuse him of fraud, of manipulation, of financial abuse against an elderly person. I can take him to trial. I can destroy his reputation. I can make him pay for what he did. But do you want to do that, Mrs. Miller? Isaac asks me, in that calm voice of his. Do you really want to enter a legal war with your son? Because if you do, there's no turning back. Once we start, this will become public, dirty, painful. I don't know, I admit. I don't know yet. Then take your time. Think about it carefully, because this decision is going to define not only your relationship with him, but also who you are. What kind of woman do you want to be after all this? His words echo in my head for days. What kind of woman do I want to be? The question haunts me. It wakes me up at night. It accompanies me during meals. It observes me from the mirror every morning. One afternoon, while walking through the garden, I find something I hadn't seen before. In a remote corner, there is a small stone bench with a plaque. I approach and read. To Teresa, the sister who taught me what sacrifice means, someday I will bring you here. Someday I will tell you everything I kept silent. Your brother, Mark. I sit on that bench and cry again. But this time they are not tears of sadness. They are tears of understanding. Mark built this for me. This place, this opportunity, this moment. He knew that one day I would be here, sitting on this bench, making this decision. And then I understand. I understand what I have to do. It's not about revenge. It's not about destroying Robert. It's about regaining my voice, my truth, my dignity. It's about setting boundaries, about saying enough, about demonstrating that what they did to me was not okay, and that I matter. I always mattered. I return to the study with a new clarity. I open the folders again. But this time, I don't look at them with pain. I look at them with purpose. I organize everything meticulously. I prepare copies. I mark important dates. I underline key phrases. I create a complete file. Professional, irrefutable. I call Isaac. I'm ready, I tell him. I want to do this right. I want to confront Robert, but not with shouting, not with violence. I want to do it in a way that he understands exactly what he did. I want him to see the evidence. I want him to know that I know. And then I want to give him an option. What kind of option? Isaac asks. The option to do the right thing, to admit what he did, to apologize. Not because I forgive him, but because it's what he must do. And if he doesn't, then yes. Then we go to trial. Then I let justice decide. Isaac is silent for a moment. Then he says, "That is the wisest approach I have heard in years, Mrs. Miller. Your brother would be proud." "I hope so," I reply. "I hope I'm doing the right thing." "You are doing it," he assures me. "You are definitely doing it." I hang up the phone and look out the window. The sun sets behind the trees. The garden is tinged with orange and gold. It's beautiful. And for the first time in a long time, I feel beautiful too. Not on the outside, on the inside, where it really matters. Tomorrow the next phase will begin. Tomorrow I will invite Robert to a formal meeting. Here, in this house, with witnesses, with lawyers. with all the cards on the table. And I'm going to show him who I really am. Not the selfish old woman he thinks. Not the weak victim he left on the street. But Teresa Miller, the woman who survived. The woman who got up. The woman who is no longer afraid. Now it is my turn to speak. And this time, the world is going to listen. The meeting is scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning. Isaac arrived early to help me prepare everything. We organized the main dining room like a boardroom. The long wooden table is covered with folders. Documents organized in perfect piles. Each piece of evidence has its place. Every proof is marked. Everything is ready. I hired a public notary to be present. There is also another lawyer, a woman named Clara Daniels, whom Isaac recommended. She is a specialist in financial fraud and elder abuse. Her mere presence gives weight to this meeting. This is not a casual family gathering. It is a formal proceeding. Official. Serious. I put on a simple but elegant dress that I found in the closet of one of the rooms. It must have belonged to Mark's wife. It fits me well. I carefully comb my hair. I look at myself in the mirror and barely recognize myself. Only 2 weeks have passed since I arrived here, but I look like a different person. I no longer have that lost look. I no longer have slumped shoulders. I am standing up, firm, ready. At 10 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rings. My heart is pounding, but it's not fear. It's anticipation. Isaac opens the door. Robert enters first, followed by Patricia and 2 of his lawyers. I recognize them. They are the same ones who were at the hearing, the same ones who took everything from me. Robert looks at me with a mixture of surprise and contempt. "I see you've settled in nicely in your new palace," he says sarcastically, "enjoying money that doesn't belong to you." I don't answer. I just look at him. Calm. Serene. Isaac guides them to the dining room. He points them to the chairs on one side of the table. We sit on the other side. The division is clear. Them against me. But this time, I am not alone. "Thank you for coming," I say in a firm voice. "I know you tried to annul my brother's will. I know you believe this inheritance should be yours. That's why I asked you to come, to show you something." "I don't need to see anything," Robert interrupts. "My lawyers already have everything they need to prove that will is not valid. You don't deserve any of this." "Robert," I say his name with a calm that surprises even me. "I'm going to ask you to shut up and listen. For once in your life, you are going to listen to what I have to say." Patricia laughs. "Who do you think you are to talk to us like that? You're an old woman who was living on the street 2 weeks ago." "You're right," I reply, looking directly at her. "I was living on the street, because your husband left me there. But today we are going to talk about how I got to that point, and who is really responsible." Isaac opens the first folder. He takes out copies of the documents I signed and places them in front of Robert. "These are the papers you made your mother sign 8 months ago. Do you recognize them?" Robert barely looks at them. "They are legal documents. She signed voluntarily." "Voluntarily?" I ask. "Is it voluntary when you lie to your mother about what she is signing? When you use confusing terms and hidden clauses? When you hire unscrupulous lawyers to draft documents designed to deceive?" "I didn't deceive anyone," Robert says, raising his voice. "You were confused. I was just trying to help you." Clara Daniels, the lawyer, speaks for the first time. Her voice is cold as ice. "Mr. Miller, we have evidence that you planned this fraud for months. Recordings of conversations with your lawyers where you discuss how to manipulate your mother. Photographs of you celebrating 2 days after she signed the papers. Financial reports showing that you urgently needed money because you had gambling debts of over $200,000. Silence falls on the table like a stone. Robert pales. Patricia stops smiling. One of his lawyers coughs uncomfortably. That is not true, Robert stutters. Isaac presses play on a recorder. Robert's voice fills the room. It has to look legal. My mother can't suspect anything. I need the documents to be confusing but valid. She will sign. She always does what I ask. Robert stands up abruptly. Where did you get that? This is an invasion of privacy. It's illegal. It is completely legal, Clara Daniels replies. Your uncle hired private investigators. Everything they collected was obtained legally. And there is more. Much more. I take out another folder. My hand doesn't tremble. I open it and show the photographs. Robert and his lawyers in secret meetings. Robert receiving cash from a loan shark. Robert in a casino, losing thousands of dollars. Patricia buying designer clothes with my money. Patricia in a very expensive spa. Patricia showing off on social media while I was sleeping on the street. You had debts, I say, looking my son in the eye. Big debts, dangerous debts. And you decided the solution was to steal everything I had. My house, my savings, my dignity. You left me on the street. Robert, your own mother, the woman who gave you life, who raised you alone, who worked until exhaustion so you would have everything. And you left me picking up cans from the trash. I didn't, Robert says. I didn't want you to come to that. His voice sounds different now, smaller. I thought you would go with a friend. I thought you would find something. You thought, I repeat. My voice breaks for the first time. You didn't think anything, Robert. You didn't care about me. You just wanted the money. And when you saw me at the hearing, when the judge passed the sentence, you looked at me like I was trash. You told me I didn't deserve anything, that I was a selfish old woman. Do you remember that? Robert doesn't answer. He looks down. His lawyers exchange nervous glances. Patricia has her arms crossed. But her expression is no longer one of arrogance. It is one of concern. I could destroy you with this, I continue. I could file a criminal lawsuit, fraud, financial abuse against an elderly person, forgery of documents, bribery of witnesses. The charges could give you between 5 and 10 years in prison, and Patricia would also be implicated. Both of you could lose everything, your freedom, your reputation, your future. Are you going to do it? Robert asks. For the first time, I hear fear in his voice. I remain silent for a moment. I look at them, at my son, at his wife, at the lawyers who helped them, and I think of Mark's words, revenge or justice, destruction or restoration. I don't know, I answer honestly. It depends on you. On me? Robert asks, confused. Yes, on you. I'm going to give you an option. One single opportunity. You can admit what you did, publicly. You can sign a full confession. You can give me back my house. You can deposit the money you stole from me back into my account. And you can apologize. Not because I forgive everything. Not because we go back to being a happy family. But because it's the right thing to do. Because it's what you owe me. And if I do that, Robert asks, then what? Then I don't file criminal charges. We keep this in the civil court. I recover what was mine. You go on with your life. I go on with mine. Separate, but without mutual destruction. And if I refuse, I look at him intently. If you refuse, then these documents go to the district attorney's office tomorrow morning. And I swear to you, Robert, I will do everything possible to make you pay for what you did to me. Not for revenge, for justice. so that no other mother has to go through what I went through because of her son. The tension in the room is palpable. One of Robert's lawyers leans over and whispers something in his ear. The other nervously checks the copies of the documents. Patricia has her hands clenched on the table. "How much time do I have to decide?" Robert finally asks. 72 hours, Isaac answers. 3 days. After that, Mrs. Miller will proceed as she deems necessary. Robert slowly gets up. Patricia and the lawyers follow him. They head toward the door without saying anything else. Before leaving, Robert turns around and looks at me. There is something in his eyes that I hadn't seen in months. Something that looks like remorse. Or maybe it's just fear. I don't know. I can no longer read my son. "Mom," he says in a low voice. It's the first time he's called me that since the hearing. "Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you came to this. I'm sorry for everything." I don't answer. I just look at him. And then I close the door. When they leave, I remain standing in the foyer. Isaac puts a hand on my shoulder. "You did very well, Mrs. Miller. You were perfect." I don't feel perfect, I admit. I feel tired. "It's normal. But you should be proud. You gave your son something he never gave you. You gave him a chance. That's more than most people would have done." I nod in silence. I go up to my room and sit on the bed. I look out the window at the garden, the bench with Mark's plaque, the trees, the sky. And I wonder what Robert will decide. Whether he will take the chance I gave him, or if he will force me to go all the way. But whatever his decision is, I have already made mine. I am no longer a victim. I am no longer the woman who accepts everything in silence. I am Teresa Miller, and I matter. I always mattered. Now all that's left is to wait. The 3 longest days of my life. 72 hours waiting. Every minute feels like an eternity. I can't sleep well. I wake up several times every night, wondering what Robert is thinking, if he is considering my offer, if his pride will be stronger than his common sense. Isaac calls me every day. "Any news?" he asks. "Not yet," I always answer. Robert's silence is deafening. I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign. I don't know if he is gathering courage to do the right thing or gathering more lawyers to fight. I spend the hours walking in the garden. I sit on the bench that Mark built for me. I read his letters over and over. I seek solace in his words, in his silent love, in his faith in me. He believed I could do this, that I could face Robert, that I could recover my dignity. I hope I don't let him down. On the morning of the 3rd day, I wake up with a knot in my stomach. Today is the deadline. If Robert doesn't respond before 6 o'clock in the afternoon, tomorrow morning Isaac will file the criminal charges. There is no turning back after that. Once the legal machinery starts, it won't stop. My son could go to prison. His life would be destroyed. And I will have to live with that decision for the rest of my days. Is this what I want? Am I really ready to go that far? I make coffee and sit in the kitchen. I look at the clock. 8 o'clock in the morning. 10 more hours. The phone is on the table. Silent, staring at me, accusing me, asking me if I have the courage. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the phone rings. It's Isaac. "Mrs. Miller, an email just arrived from your son's lawyer. He says Robert wants to meet with you. Alone. Without lawyers. Just the 2 of you." My heart stops. Alone. "Yes. He says he needs to talk to you, mother to son, before making a final decision. What do you think?" I ask. Isaac hesitates for a moment. "I think it's risky, but I also think it could be good." Sometimes these things need to be resolved face to face, without intermediaries. If you feel comfortable, I would be in the house, in another room, in case you need me. That's fine, I reply after a silence. Tell him to come at 4 o'clock. The next 2 hours are torture. I change my clothes 3 times. I comb my hair. I look at myself in the mirror. I practice what I'm going to say. But all the words sound empty. What do I say to a son who betrayed me? What do I say to the boy I raised and who left me on the street? At 4 o'clock sharp, Robert arrives. This time he comes alone, without Patricia, without lawyers, just him. He looks different, tired, haggard, as if he hadn't slept for days either. Isaac lets him in and then retires to the study, leaving us alone in the living room. We sit on the sofas, facing each other. The silence is heavy, awkward. Neither of us knows how to start. Finally, Robert speaks. I don't know where to start, Mum. Start with the truth, I say simply. He nods. He takes a deep breath. And then everything comes out, like a river breaking a dam. You were right about everything. The debts, the casino, the loans. I was desperate. I had lost so much money, and the loan sharks started threatening me. They told me that if I didn't pay, they were going to hurt me. Hurt Patricia. I panicked. And then I thought of your house, your savings, and I thought you didn't need them as much as I did. I was living there, Robert. It was my home. I know now. But at that moment I only saw a solution to my problem. I didn't think about what would happen to you later. I didn't think you would end up on the street. I really thought you would find something, that someone would help you. No one helped me, I say in a broken voice. I called everyone I knew. Everyone had excuses. Everyone disappeared. I slept on benches. I ate from the garbage. I was cold. I was hungry. I was scared. And you were sleeping in my bed, in my house, with my money, without feeling anything. I did feel things, Robert says. Tears begin to fall down his face. I felt everything, but I pushed it down. I told myself that you were fine, that you were strong, that you would survive. I lied to myself so I could sleep at night. And Patricia? Did she feel anything too? Robert looks down. Patricia, she was the one who had the original idea. When I told her about my debts, she was the one who suggested your house, your money. She was the one who found the lawyers, who planned everything. But I let her. I accepted. I signed the documents. I lied to you. The fault is mine, Mum. Not hers. Mine. Why did you say that to me at the hearing? I ask. The question that has tormented me for weeks. Why did you tell me I didn't deserve anything? That I was a selfish old woman? Robert covers his face with his hands. Because I needed to convince myself that I was doing the right thing. I needed to turn you into the enemy to justify what I was doing to you. If I saw you as a loving mother, as the woman who raised me, I couldn't go on. So I turned you into something else in my mind. Into someone bad. Into someone who deserved to suffer. It was easier that way. His words break me, because I understand what he is saying. I understand how the mind works when we want to justify the unjustifiable, how we lie to ourselves, how we create false narratives so we can live with our decisions. And now, I ask, now what do you think of me? Robert looks at me. His eyes are red, swollen. Now I think you are the strongest person I know. You survived what I did to you. You got up. You found this inheritance. You confronted me with dignity, with proof, with calm. In your place, I would have wanted to kill myself. And you are giving me a chance. I don't deserve it, Mum. I don't deserve your compassion. It's not compassion, I reply. It's justice. There is a difference. Compassion forgives without consequences. Justice demands that you pay for what you did, that you repair the damage, that you acknowledge the truth. That's what I'm asking you. And I'm going to do it, Robert says. I'm going to sign the confession. I'm going to give you back your house, your money, everything. I'm going to make a public statement admitting what I did. And afterwards, I'm going to move away from your life because I don't deserve to be in it. That part is not for you to decide, I say firmly. I will decide if I want you in my life or not, after you do what you must do, after you comply with justice. Then, maybe, with time, we can talk about forgiveness. But not now. Now I can only ask you to do the right thing. Robert nods. When do you want me to sign the papers? Tomorrow, at 10 o'clock in the morning. Here, with the notary present. With Isaac and Clara Daniels. Everything formal. Everything documented. And then you are going to go to a bank with me, and you are going to transfer the money you stole from me. Every single cent. I will do it. I promise you, Mum. This time, I won't fail you. He gets up to leave. He walks toward the door. Before going out, he turns one last time. Mum. Yes. Do you think you can forgive me someday? I remain silent for a long moment. I think about everything that happened, about the nights on the street, about the hunger, about the humiliation, about the pain. But I also think about the boy he was, about the good times we had, about the son he could have been and who chose not to be. I don't know, Robert. Honestly, I don't know. But I can tell you this. If you keep your word, if you do the right thing, if you demonstrate with actions, not just words, that you have changed, then maybe, just maybe. But it's going to take time. A lot of time. He nods. I understand. Thank you, Mum, for giving me even a chance. And he leaves. I stay alone in the living room. Isaac comes out of the study. How do you feel? He asks. I don't know, I admit. Exhausted, sad, relieved, all at the same time. It's normal. You just did something extraordinary. You gave your son consequences, but also grace. That requires more strength than most people have. That night, I sleep better than I have in weeks, because I know I did the right thing. It wasn't easy. It wasn't perfect. But it was fair, and that's enough for now. The next morning, Robert arrives on time. He signs all the documents, the full confession, the transfer of ownership of my house, the financial agreements, everything. Clara Daniels meticulously reviews them. The notary certifies each signature. It's official. It's real. I have recovered what was mine. Then we go to the bank. Robert makes the transfers, $350,000, all my money, back in my account. I see the numbers on the screen and I almost can't believe it. It's real. It really happened. I won. But it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a closure, like the end of a terrible chapter, and the beginning of something new, something I don't fully understand yet, but that I feel growing inside me. When we finish at the bank, Robert says goodbye. I'm going to seek help. Mum, therapy, Gamblers Anonymous meetings, things. I'm going to work on myself. And someday when I'm ready, if you are ready, I would like to try to rebuild something. Not like before. Something new. Something honest. I wish you the best, Robert, I say sincerely. Truly. But I need time. I need to heal. I need to find myself again. I understand. Goodbye, Mum. Goodbye, son. And he leaves. And I stay there, standing on the sidewalk, feeling the sun on my face, feeling the weight lifted from my shoulders, feeling for the first time in a long time that I am going to be okay, that I am strong, that I survived, and that now, finally, I can start living again. 6 months have passed since that day at the bank. 6 months since Robert signed the documents and gave me back what was mine. 6 months since I recovered not only my house and my money, but something much more valuable: my dignity, my voice, my life. I decided not to go back to living in my old house. It has too many memories, too many shadows. Instead, I rented it to a young family with 2 children. They take good care of it. They fill it with laughter, with new life. And I stayed here, in Mark's mansion. At first I thought it would be temporary, that after the 3 months I would move to a small apartment. But this place became my home. I feel my brother here, in every corner, in every detail. It's as if I finally returned to him after all those lost years. I made some changes. I converted one of the rooms into an art studio. I always liked to paint when I was young, but I gave it up when I got married, when I had responsibilities. Now I paint every day: landscapes, portraits, colors that express everything I couldn't say for years. It's therapeutic. It's liberating. It's mine. I also started a project, something that keeps me awake at night in the best way. With part of Mark's inheritance, I created a foundation. It's called New Beginnings. It is for elderly women who have been victims of financial abuse or family abandonment. I give them temporary shelter, free legal advice, emotional support. I help them recover what they lost, to find their strength, to get up like I got up. The first woman who arrived was named Wilma. She was 70 years old, and her daughter had left her in a horrible nursing home after selling her house. When I met her, I saw my own reflection. I saw the pain, the confusion, the shame of having trusted the wrong person. Now Wilma lives in a nice apartment that the foundation helped her get. She recovered her money with the help of our lawyers, and she is happy, really happy. There are others. Mary, whose son manipulated her into signing documents. Patricia, who was tricked by her son-in-law, each with her story, each with her scars, but all surviving, all fighting, all remembering that they matter. Sometimes I wonder what Mark would think of all this. I think he would be proud. I think that's why he left me this fortune, not just so I could live well, but so I could help others, so I could turn my pain into purpose, my tragedy into transformation. Robert and I haven't talked much. He sends me a message every month. He tells me how his therapy is going. He tells me he hasn't gambled in 6 months, that he is working a regular job, earning his own money, that he separated from Patricia. She couldn't accept life without luxury, without easy money, without shortcuts. She left, and maybe that was the best thing for him. I don't know if we will ever have a close relationship again. Part of me wants to try, the part that is still his mother, but another part knows that some things break in ways that cannot be completely repaired. They can only be rebuilt, and that takes time, patience, and the willingness of both sides. For now, I am at peace with the distance, with the space, with letting him make his way while I make mine. Yesterday I received something unexpected, a letter. It arrived by certified mail. When I opened it, I saw it was from a law firm I didn't know. I sat down on the garden bench, the one Mark built for me, and started reading. The letter said that Mark had left final instructions, a secret clause in his will that was only to be revealed 6 months after I took possession of the inheritance. If in those 6 months I had complied with the original condition, if I had used the evidence wisely, if I had found justice without destruction, then there was something more, something he wanted me to have. Attached to the letter was a sealed envelope. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside there was a key and a note in Mark's handwriting. Teresa, if you are reading this, it means you did the right thing. It means you faced your pain with dignity, that you sought justice, not revenge. I am proud of you, sister. I always was. This key is for a safe deposit box at the central bank. The number is on the back. There you will find one last surprise. Something I saved for you all these years. Something that proves I never stopped loving you. I never stopped taking care of you, even when we weren't talking. Enjoy it, use it well, and always remember that you matter, that you are strong, that you survived, and that your story doesn't end here. It's just beginning. With eternal love, your brother Mark. I cry as I read, tears of gratitude, of love, of loss, but also of hope. Mark thought of everything, even this, to give me something more. Not because I need more money, but because I needed to know that someone thought of me, that someone cared for me, that someone believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. Tomorrow I will go to the bank. I will open that safe deposit box. I will see what Mark left me, but I already know it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is the gesture, the love, the connection that was never really broken. It was just silenced for a while. I get up from the bench and walk through the garden. The trees sway in the wind. The birds sing. The sun is setting, tinging everything golden. It's beautiful. And I am here to see it, to feel it, to live it. I think of the woman I was 6 months ago, the woman on the street, collecting cans, feeling invisible, feeling defeated. And I think of the woman I am now, standing in this garden, owner of my life, helping others, painting, creating, living. It wasn't easy to get here. There were moments when I wanted to give up, moments when the pain was too much. But I kept going, one step at a time, one day at a time. And here I am. I go into the house and up to the study. I look at the folders that are still stored in the closet. All the evidence, all the story of my fall and my resurrection. Someday I will write a book about this. I will share my story so that other women know they are not alone, that they can survive, that they can win, not with shouting, not with violence, but with truth, with dignity, with justice. I sit in front of the window and look at the stars beginning to appear in the sky, and I ask myself the question I ask myself every night. Would I have had the courage to do this without Mark's inheritance, without the documents, without the legal support? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But what I do know is that the world gave me more than money. It gave me an opportunity. It gave me tools. It gave me the possibility to fight when everyone thought I was finished. And I took that opportunity. I took it with both hands. And I didn't let go. Now my story is different. I am not the victim. I am the survivor, the fighter, the woman who got up after hitting rock bottom, the woman who recovered her life, the woman who helps others recover theirs. And this doesn't end here. It's just beginning. There are more women to help, more stories to change, more lives to touch. And I am ready, more ready than ever. I stand up and walk towards the study mirror. I look at myself. I really look at myself. And for the first time in a long time, I like what I see. Not because of the physical appearance, but because of what is behind the eyes. strength, purpose, life. I smile. It's a genuine smile. Real. And then I ask myself the final question. The question I ask anyone who reads my story. The question Mark asked me in his letter months ago. Would you have the courage to do what I did? Would you have the courage to face the person who hurt you? To seek justice without destruction? To get up after hitting rock bottom? To forgive without forgetting? To rebuild your life when everything seems lost? I hope so. I hope that if you ever find yourself in the dark, you remember my story. Remember that it is possible to get out, that it is possible to win, that you matter, you always mattered, and that it is never, ever too late to reclaim your life. It is never too late to be who you really are. It is never too late to start over.